Welcome to the webinar, Green Cleaning for Improved Health, the Return on Investment of Green Cleaning in Schools. My name is Tracy Washington Inger, and I am with the Indoor Environments Division of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, and I have the pleasure of serving as your facilitator. This webinar is one of an ongoing series that was developed to address the specific areas school stakeholders in our network have committed to actively addressing in order to achieve dramatic results in health, academic, and building performance. You will have the opportunity to gain recognition for your knowledge acquisition and commitment to action through certificates of completion after finishing the evaluation for each training. The Knowledge to Action Professional Webinar Series builds on the foundational content delivered in the Indoor Air Quality Masterclass Professional Webinar Series. The next action you can take on the way to improving indoor air quality in your schools is to join the IAQ Masterclass by viewing all 10 webinars in the series. Your ability to move into action more quickly will be enhanced by viewing these webinars on demand. We recommend specific webinars for you to view in order to deepen your knowledge. To enhance your understanding of green cleaning, we recommend that in addition to the Masterclass webinar on cleaning and maintenance, you also view the webinars on smart material selection and aggressive source control. Complete all 10 hours of webinars and you will be acknowledged with a certificate that recognizes your efforts towards IAQ mastery as a member of the SHIELD Network IAQ Masterclass. Another terrific tool we have to help move you into action to improve IAQ in schools is the IAQ Tools for Schools mobile app. If you haven't done so already, grab your smart device and download this app and make your mobile device a one-stop shop for managing IAQ. During this webinar, you will hear specific ways the mobile app can help you integrate IAQ data to generate broader support for your IAQ and green cleaning programs. During this webinar, we will explore some of the best-in-class practices and procedures for establishing effective green cleaning programs that have a positive impact not only on the cleanliness and performance of facilities, but also on the health of occupants and on the operating budget. Our speakers will detail how they have been able to make the business case for their green cleaning programs by using data to support the value proposition that demonstrates substantial cost savings, health outcomes, and facility improvements to stakeholders and funders. You will also hear how to replicate these successful strategies with the help of the Tools for Schools kit guidance and resources. The IAQ Tools for Schools kit was developed to address the IAQ issues found in many of the nation's schools, and it serves as the knowledge base of what schools and school districts need to do to put an IAQ management plan in place. The Action Kit was first established back in the 1990s and has been updated continuously since then. We've added to it and refined it and included more and more of the best practices that we see many of you implementing across the country. In addition to the best practices, we provide walkthrough checklists, industry guidelines, sample policies, and sample IAQ management plans to help schools and school districts take immediate action to implement effective indoor air quality management programs. The framework for effective school IAQ management helps school districts implement the kit using 6 key drivers and successful strategies. This webinar will highlight how you can employ the strategies under the Assess, Plan, and Act key drivers to enact green cleaning practices, policies, and procedures that complement your comprehensive IAQ management plan. You can then employ the strategies under the Evaluate driver to collect data on cost savings and health improvement results, and then share those results to influence stakeholders and funders using the Organize and Communicate key drivers. In addition to the framework, the Action Kit offers technical solutions. These are the major IAQ issues that the Action Kit and framework can be used to address in order to create clean, green, healthy indoor environments in schools, including effective cleaning and maintenance. We offer a wide range of specific strategies for conducting effective cleaning and maintenance while protecting indoor air quality and occupant health. The work we do in green cleaning and preventative maintenance encompasses every element of the physical environment, especially indoor air quality. The products and processes used when cleaning can have a major impact on reducing asthma triggers, which helps keep kids in school and learning, as well as on reducing injuries and illnesses due to chemical exposures for you and your colleagues. When making the case for investing in managing the indoor environment, it is critical to convey the role indoor air quality plays in creating a healthy school environment and the subsequent impacts that healthy indoor environments have on the health of occupants, the ability of students to learn and teachers to instruct, and the practical and financial considerations for maintaining the physical environment. The key to using this strong business case to gain buy-in and secure funding for your indoor air quality and green cleaning programs lie in the ability to communicate the benefits using a language that generates support. The conditions of the indoor environment in schools has a direct impact on health and performance outcomes for both students and staff. Although most schools are working hard to provide a clean, safe, and healthy learning environment for students and staff, there are times when a focused pitch is needed to help make the case for supporting a green cleaning program to a target audience that might include the superintendent, school boards, teachers, or even your own custodial staff. A value proposition is your elevator pitch for describing the benefits of your program. The purpose of your statement is to quickly demonstrate to your target audience that your proposed activities are critical and worth funding and support. The value proposition for indoor air quality and green cleaning is a clear and concise declaration of the investments your program requires, the results your program will produce, and the bountiful benefits and savings your program can deliver. Consider the green cleaning value proposition as a reasonable request in exchange for an amazing offer that no sensible person could refuse. During this webinar, you will hear some of these irresistible offers from our speakers. Although initially the value proposition may appear overwhelming, there is a process behind developing a successfully compelling value proposition. The Indoor Air Quality Tools for Schools program has developed a value proposition worksheet that takes you through the process step by step. This worksheet can be used at any stage of your program, whether you are looking for support to launch a new program and get it off to a great start, or to expand, enhance, and replicate an existing program. The Value Proposition Worksheet is the tool you need to design, refine, and align your program to the needs of your audience. The Value Proposition Worksheet will allow you to think systematically and comprehensively about your IAQ and green cleaning programs, processes, and policies, and about the value they provide for different stakeholders. So you need to think about who it is you're serving. Who are your beneficiaries? Who are the beneficiaries of your work? Remember that instituting green cleaning practices that improve indoor air quality impacts all students and staff, and especially those with health concerns like asthma. Additionally, think about what are your investments, remembering to take into consideration the time spent on training staff on new products, equipment, and procedures. We have heard too many cases where people have thought their costs increased by switching to green cleaning products when the real issue was the investment was never made in training the custodial staff in the use of these products and how to use them correctly. When it comes to designing and describing activities, use the Indoor Air Quality Framework and technical solutions to identify the activities that are proven to be effective in meeting your desired outcomes. Things like staff and occupant training, walkthrough assessments, and baseline surveys. The evaluation key driver, combined with the outputs, outcomes, and impacts sections of the value proposition worksheet, will help you measure, track, document, and describe what your program accomplishes, what difference it makes, and why it matters to your stakeholders. Now, green cleaning is an area of indoor air quality that is flush with demonstrable impacts on health and the indoor environment and the economic bottom line. Our featured speakers will further illustrate how to translate your program successes into the language of the value proposition. Join me in welcoming Mike Jones. Mike Jones is the Director of Custodial Services at Columbia Public Schools in Columbia, Missouri. Michael has over 30 years of experience in operations management. Today, he oversees Columbia Public Schools Custodial Services Department, which is made up of 39 buildings, 165 custodians, and 3.5 million square feet. He launched a district-wide green initiative in January 2009 based on the Missouri Green Cleaning Guidelines and Specifications for Schools. Under Mike's leadership, the program has won 2 Green Awards, the 2010 Best New Program and the 2011 Grand Award for School Districts. Currently, Mike works with Healthy Schools Campaign and sits on the Green Clean Leadership Council. Please join me in welcoming Mike Jones.
Thank you, Tracy. We clean 39 buildings in about 3 million square feet with 147 full-time employees, which includes 3 trainers and about 6 floaters. We operate with an additional 10 substitutes, 3 area supervisors, and 3 custodial supervisors. 2 building additions are planned in the next 2 years, with a 130,000 square foot middle school opening in 2020. Our custodial budget is a little over $5 million. That includes our payroll, operating, and capital budget. As you can see, we had all conventional cleaning products, and many areas needed to be improved. 35 plus conventional cleaning products to clean our facilities was impossible to manage, and most cleaning products contained high health ratings. Several custodians complained of harsh chemicals were creating rashes on their arms, forcing them to wear long sleeves. One custodian in particular was having to visit her doctor frequently for prescription medicine to counteract the rash our chemicals created. We are spending over $10,000 a year in disposable rags, and some staff use cloth rags that just smeared soils on surfaces. Our upright vacuum cleaners were the old Hoover dust cup model that when you turn them on, the bag would expand, sending dust into the air, creating unhealthy conditions for staff and students. Improving the health issues within our campus facilities was the motivating factor, and finding areas to address these issues was not difficult to do. In 2008, we learned Missouri would be possibly developing a mandatory law for green cleaning products and programs, and they were using the Illinois mandatory state law as a blueprint. We did not understand green cleaning and were completely conventional in our products and programs. We spent over 9 months researching and testing green cleaning products and cleaning procedures. The passing of the Missouri Green Cleaning Guidelines in 2009 became voluntary, but we accepted these guidelines as mandatory and was one of the pieces of the roadmap puzzle that helped us to design our programs. These guidelines adopted directives from the Healthy Schools Campaign in the area of shared responsibility and promoting stewardship. Utilizing important IAQ information from the EPA helped us in understanding the importance of indoor air quality and the role of green cleaning. April 2009, we moved aggressively, placing public bids to replace our paper towels, tissue, and soap dispensers with green products. We replaced our 35 plus conventional cleaning products with environmentally sensitive product, reducing total cleaning products down to 7. Traditional cleaning rags, dust mops, and wet mops were replaced with microfiber. Using less product is an important aspect of green cleaning. Changing our application of floor finish from a single mop bucket with string mops to pour and spread with microfiber flat mops significantly reduced our consumption of floor finish. We had an average 3 to 4 trash cans in classrooms, oversized bags, and old metal trash cans with many rusted on the inside bottoms. Reducing trash cans to 1 to 2 cans per classroom, plus purchasing the correct size of bags for our trash cans, saved our district well over $30,000 per year. Savings was used to purchase all new district trash cans that could be properly cleaned, reducing indoor air quality concerns. We were spending $46 per hour outsourcing our custodial repairs and brought our repairs in-house. We have expanded our knowledge of repairs that we are analyzing computer boards and recently replaced a single chip for $35 rather than purchasing a new computer board at a cost of $1,000. Our preventative maintenance program keeps our equipment properly functioning, timely HEPA filter replacements, and improved the life of normal wear items. When we began sharing our success with district administration and the Board of Education during a board meeting, I commented the importance of savings we created needed to be left in my budget to continue our green cleaning agenda to purchase necessary equipment and supplies. Not only did our board leave our budget intact to continue our green cleaning agenda, my yearly request for capital equipment improvements was significantly increased. Prior years, we were lucky to receive $35,000 to $50,000 for capital purchases. In school year 2015 to 16, we were given $229,000, and this past year, $280,000 to significantly update our custodial equipment and pursue engineered water. It is important to communicate your successes of your green cleaning program to district administration and the Board of Education whenever you have the opportunity, tying together indoor air quality and student health. Our most recent change was the reality that you can bring in green products and procedures, but you must have a standardized cleaning process. Process cleaning for healthy schools has helped us bridge that gap where all of our classroom spaces are cleaned the same way district-wide. This process has simplified our training, raised the bar of consistent cleanliness, and improved staff morale. This process has helped us to provide the time to clean our most touch surfaces nightly and sanitize the important areas for infection control. With the reduction of 15 full-time staff members through attrition, we have created substitute custodians that work on call, entry-level wage with no benefits. These employees, along with a pool of floaters, cover our regular employee absences to keep our buildings fully staffed and maintain the cleanliness of our facilities. When we have a permanent position come available, we have well-trained substitutes to immediately fill the vacancy. The reduction of 15 full-time employees created around $500,000 savings in salary and benefits. These funds were reinvested back into the custodial department, increasing wages by an average of 17%. We had long-term employees that were maxed out in their pay and not received an increase for several years. It was very exciting notifying some of these employees they just received a $4 an hour increase. In 2014, we began testing engineered water and implemented Orbio technology, OS3, and satellite units throughout our district buildings. Cost of units were supported through savings in our operating budget, plus approved capital asset funds. All district buildings are now being cleaned with engineered water. This is sustainability, creating your own cleaning chemicals, and we eliminated 2,184 gallon plastic bottles and 546 shipping boxes back into the environment, plus eliminating the production of the same bottles and boxes and fuel emissions with transportation. Wherever you are in your green cleaning program, you must continue to evolve using new technologies to improve your cleaning program, sustainability, and better indoor air quality. This is a team effort by the faculty and staff at this elementary school, where at the end of the day, chairs are stacked, worktops to be free of debris, and floors to be picked up. This facilitates the sanitization of the worktops and increased performance of custodial staff, as well as overall quality of service. Shared responsibility is supported by our district, but needs to be communicated on a regular basis. We understand our principals and teachers have a role of student achievement, work numerous hours, and sometimes needs to be reminded of shared responsibility to keep our buildings clean and healthy. I meet yearly with all principals to discuss shared responsibility, and it is supported by our administration. The district student allergy prevention and response policy restricts teachers and staff from bringing in cleaning chemicals from home and from use of any fragrance in our schools. Newsletters from facility and construction services are sent to district staff to inform them of IPM, energy, and IAQ improvements, issues, or updates. Our district recycling program. is student-based, where students assist in recycling of our paper products, cans, plastic 1 through 7, and cardboard. Several buildings are in the early stages of composting food waste from cafeterias, working in conjunction with the City of Columbia. The use of cleaning products and procedures in accordance with recommendations of DESE is a board policy. Understand and use board policies and approved programs to generate support. Make sure you have a department website communicating your district's mission, green cleaning program, and shared responsibility. Under our Green Cleaning Programs website, we discuss the shared responsibility of teachers and students clearing off tables, stacking chairs, and clearing the floor of debris. In addition, we offer our green cleaning chemicals and microfiber cloths to teachers at no expense. Indoor air quality is an important driving force in our district, especially with the teachers union and public. I volunteer to sit on the IAQ committee for our district and helps me engage all stakeholders in understanding the vital role of green cleaning and relationship to indoor air quality. Complete random building inspections and communicate results to your custodial staff, principals, and district administration. This provides lines of communication where stakeholders, whether results are fantastic, average, or if you're actually having a cleaning issue. You stop by and just visit with a teacher, asking about the cleanliness of their classroom and if they are satisfied. This is a simple approach to directly engaging the end user and opens up discussions about green cleaning and healthy environments. Random surveys help communicate and provide valuable feedback on your green cleaning program. Teachers and staff really appreciate having input and help open the lines of communication. We have almost a 90% overall satisfaction of our service. Know your district's mission statement, vision, mission, purpose, and values. I use this slide presentation to our custodial department discussing teamwork, adaptability, commitment, and other aspects to focus on our green cleaning program. A stands for all students graduate college and career ready. E stands for every teacher becomes the best. O stands for our operations make our mission possible. Our superintendent completely supports the O, which helps promote our green cleaning agenda and shared responsibility to all stakeholders to make our department's mission possible. Each month during the school year, I meet with the superintendent, executive committee, other directors, and department coordinators to discuss important developments in the district and each other's departments. This coming year, principals will be invited to the table as well. This really helps open up the lines of communication between important stakeholders and helps me to share our green cleaning agenda, indoor air quality, and the importance of student health. Graduation rates have continued to improve district-wide, and attendance rates have remained fairly strong. Although I cannot take complete credit for the continued success of these numbers, our department has a direct role in the success of our student achievement, keeping our buildings clean and healthy. If students are sick and not in school, they cannot learn. It is very important to have a clear vision and plan when moving towards a green cleaning program. Understand it takes time to research, test product, and provide adequate training of custodial staff. Utilize vendors, manufacturers, internet, and networking to help you with your research. Visit the Healthy Schools Campaign, Green Clean Schools, and EPA Tools for Schools websites to expand your knowledge of green cleaning and the importance of indoor air quality. Communication is extremely important to all stakeholders to ensure they understand your vision and how it will provide cleaner and safer surfaces and impact to indoor air quality. When we made a decision to make a product change, reducing inventory levels in both our warehouse and our individual building stock to bare minimum quantities helped us to complete most of these transitions in about 10 months. When making a change, start with your smallest square foot buildings first, working to your largest buildings last. When we moved towards environmentally sensitive cleaning products, we brought in about a quarter of our district online, moving existing conventional products to the remaining buildings to use up. Your high schools are your largest users of these products, so they will be last to come online. It was also important to start our new cleaning chemicals in late spring using the summer cleaning to exhaust large quantities of chemical. All custodians need to be trained in the new cleaning products and processes from the start, since we have substitutes, floaters, and move employees around on occasion. You can move towards environmentally sensitive cleaning products, but having a standardized cleaning program is extremely important for all classrooms to be cleaned the same way each day. In addition, you should provide teachers and principals with information of your cleaning program, specifically what is cleaned each day as well as each week. This provides accountability and better communication between all stakeholders. When a teacher knows what is expected to be cleaned each day, and for some reason areas do not get cleaned, they will let you know. Spending only $15,000 to implement our process cleaning program to save $500,000 was a fantastic investment. We not only were able to reinvest much of the savings, giving our staff a 17% increase, but used part of the savings to create 3 trainer positions. Use your trainers to train new employees, retrain staff as needed, conduct your cleanliness inspections, and ongoing special training through the year. We conduct around 8 4-hour training sessions during the year. Our buildings that are the cleanest completely follow our cleaning program. And if buildings struggle at times, the custodians have gone back to their old habits and need to be retrained. Thank you for attending this webinar and listening about our program at Columbia Public Schools.
Mike, thank you so much. There are so many things that I find impressive about your program. And I have to say, one of the things that I appreciate the most about it is the fact that, yes, you have all of these demonstrated cost savings by the practices you do, the products that you chose, but the fact that your choice to go here was motivated by concerns about the health of your staff, of your custodial staff, and the health of the students is really, I think, one of the most motivational parts of this story. And I think also is one of the things that makes your communication strategy with your stakeholders and decision makers so strong, that you keep tying it back, as you said, you keep tying your message of green cleaning back to comprehensive indoor air quality and the impacts that are there, that you tie it back to the importance of, of health for your staff and for your students. And that communication strategy and the way that you have really maneuvered yourself and this program using your successes, using that data that you have, using that strong business case that you have for what you're doing, recognizing your accomplishments, capturing them, and then sharing them back, and then creating a place for yourself at the table with those folks. And like you said, being able to talk across programs so that everyone is focused on achieving the same things. And I have to say that when I see you sitting down with your staff and bringing them back to the overall mission statements of the district so that they see how everything that they do are connected to a larger academic outcomes mission, is connected to a larger operations mission, that their work is connected to the work of the other departments, I think it does nothing but strengthen the program in a way that we can see these kinds of results. And I think as we talk later in the webinar, folks will be able to see how they can use some of the tools that we have to replicate those same kinds of successes. But in every way, just a stellar program, Mike. Thanks so much. Another terrific program we're going to hear from is from Shauna Cragen, who is the Director of Custodial Services at Davis School District in Utah. Shauna is responsible for a staff of 604 permanent custodians and approximately 800 substitute custodians who clean and maintain over 10 million square feet of floor space for approximately 73,000 students and 8,000 employees. She is also the president of the Utah Schools Custodial Management Association, which represents 16 school districts in Utah, affecting hundreds of thousands of students statewide. Please join me in welcoming Shauna Cragen.
Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. I'm honored to be here today. I first wanted to give you guys just an idea of my unique perspective because I have kind of an unusual background for for a custodial services director. So my education is really focused in management and finance and accounting. But for the last 30 years, I've had a personal passion for personal and environmental health. My job history, accounting, procurement, and auditing, is where I've spent the majority of my adult life, and I've been in custodial just since 2014, so just for 3 years. So Davis's facilities, like Tracy had mentioned, I have 102 facilities, 73,000 students, 8,000 staff members, 10 million square feet of floor space. We employ 604 permanent custodians, 798 substitute custodians that are on call. And I didn't put that on the slide, but my budget is a little over $15 million a year. So because my background is not custodial, the first step that I took is really to come in and assess what we were doing right and what we needed to be doing better. I talked with the head custodians at all of my high schools. I surveyed several other custodial employees, but I also met with all of the leaders, the Utah Schools Custodial Managers Association. This is actually a photo of them with me on the slide. And I talked to them. I went to their professional development days. I looked at their chemical programs. I looked at the processes they used. I also went to the Healthy Schools Green Summit, went to their leadership summit several years. I talked with several of their leaders. You know, if you're ever looking at implementing a phenomenal recycling program, go down to the University of Washington, speak with Gene. He has the most phenomenal team. They have the best buy-in. The morale there is phenomenal. They have just the most awesome recycling program. I was so impressed with them. But I met with all of these people just to get an idea of what we can improve and where we really wanted to go from here. One of the very first things that we did is we implemented facility assessments. We had not done facility assessments until I came in 2014, and this allowed us to find, you know, where some of our strengths and weaknesses were, which policies we were following, which ones we had issues with, which procedures were not being standardized across the district, and identify what training issues that we had. So this is actually a picture of the Word document that I created after this process that I went through. It is a 9-page document. And I share this with you because the one thing I hear from people that come into a new department or they want to implement new change is it's overwhelming. There's too much for me to do. I don't know where to start. This is the actual spreadsheet that I created. I agree. It was overwhelming. But, you know, we had issues with personnel and morale and budgets and training and chemicals and processes and machines. We hadn't implemented IPM. And I've been here 3 years. Have I fixed everything? Absolutely not. That would be completely ridiculous to expect that. But I think even if you talk with leaders that have been in their roles 20, 25 years, none of our programs are perfect. So I show you this spreadsheet to tell you, please don't be overwhelmed. When you look at the whole thing, it can be overwhelming. Pick one thing. You don't have to fix everything at one time. So the biggest one of the first problems that we found was training. The greenest process that you can have is keeping your employees. We all know the associated costs with new employees. You know, you have additional training and material costs. You have the cost of what an unskilled worker does to your facility. There's significant differences in ATP testing. Make sure that you're keeping your existing employees. Look at morale. Make sure that you're giving them the tools and the skills to be successful in the job that you're asking them to do. When I came in 2014, we were doing 1 professional development day per year, 2 hours for part-time employees, 4 hours for full-time employees. Other than that, the only other formal training that our employees received is when you went from being a part-time employee to a full-time employee, you received 26 lessons. And at that time, that was it, a one-time 26 lessons. So our sub-employees, that's 798 people, no formal training. Our part-time employees, no formal training other than the 2 hours once a year. It was a major, major issue. So the first thing I did is the professional development day. This is actually a picture of the meeting that we had on June 8th, but we changed that. It's now 4 hours for part-time employees and 8 hours for full-time employees. We also started doing a winter appreciation meeting and spring and fall training classes. We've built a tremendous amount of resources online so that if we have a head custodian at a facility who's got a half an hour, their crew is all there, they want to jump in and do a refresher on something, they can go online, they can go through the training, everybody gets the same information. It's been a wonderful asset for us. One of the other problems that we found very quickly was in 2014, I had 3 coordinators. Those coordinators, their job is to go out into the schools, make sure that those folks have the tools to do their jobs. And I found out very quickly that some of our schools had not been visited for 3 and 4 years. They had not seen their leader for 3 and 4 years, clearly a major problem. So now I have two coordinators rather than 3, and they are clearly different coordinators. But our coordinators are in their facilities a minimum of once a month. And if there are questions or concerns or problems or additional training that's needed, they're there more frequently. They're always available via phone or otherwise. But we've also put in newsletters. Newsletters were something we never did before. We've started to do those. And I'll tell you, I read a lot of people's newsletters, and they're very fluffy, for lack of a better word. Mine are not. Our people are very, very busy. If you send them something that they read halfway through and think this is a waste of my time, they're not going to finish it. Don't put fluff, put substance. But we made major changes in our training department. So this is actually a picture of a letter I received on June 9th, right after we did our big professional development day. And the letter itself is not important, but this first line is very important. It says, I've been a custodian for 28 years, and yesterday was the first time that I can actually say I was proud to be one. I am telling you right now, this is not from my complimentary, happy, placating custodian. This is from a gentleman that very seldom gives compliments. He's kind of a little bit gruff. I worked for this letter. I deserve this letter. Please make sure that your people feel valued. Please make sure that you're giving them the skills to do the job that you're asking them to do. There is no bigger failure than us not providing the tools and skills necessary to our employees and then holding them accountable for our failures. I see it over and over and over, and it's just a really bad practice. So in 2014, we had 16.88% of our positions that we could not get filled. We had done advertising, we'd done different measures, could not get anybody to come in and take those positions. 12.9% of my employees were facing severe disciplinary action. And I don't mean a verbal warning or a strong written warning. There was enough documentation on these employees that they were actually facing termination. As of 2 weeks ago, we are down to 8.9% of unfilled custodial positions, and 1.9% of my employees are facing severe disciplinary action, which is clearly a substantial difference. And I account that all to the training that they've received. Your largest cost avoidance is retaining your existing employees. You need to keep them. That's the greenest process you can possibly have. They don't make the same mistakes. They take less time. They use products better. You get a better quality of service. Please do what you can to retain your employees. It's very, very important. So I want to talk to you about a few of the areas that we've made substantial improvement. Now, when I first came in 2014, our last administration had just implemented a new soap program. And it was a great soap product. It was Eco-Logo certified. It was a very good product. However, they did not do a very good cost analysis before they implemented that, and it actually doubled our costs, which we all know as school districts, we just don't have the budgets to accommodate something like that. So it was a huge issue. And because of that, I have determined we don't demo anything for less than a year. We may think we know how it's going to work out, but you really need a full calendar year to really know how it's going to work out. So we are testing several green chemicals and green chemical systems in specific locations. We are collecting data on those locations. We are doing ATP testing to prove that it is the same or better than using conventional chemicals. We have looked at student attendance in the facilities that we're running this in. We have noticed a 3% increase in student attendance. And we all know the cost of absenteeism and the impact it has on student learning. If the students are not in the chair, they're not learning. As far as I'm concerned, the very first step in education is making sure the kids are at school and they're healthy. And that is custodial's responsibility. It is our job to make sure that those environments are as healthy as they possibly can be for the students and for the staff. We are going to start looking at teacher attendance in August. We have not looked at that quite yet, but we will in August. As far as the cost comparisons, we have not noticed any increase. We have noticed it's very, very similar in every facility I have except one. In one facility, I've noticed a pretty substantial decrease, but I want to go in and do an analysis and just verify that those products are being used the way that they're supposed to before I hang my hat on that decrease. But I will say we have not had a cost comparison. It is very important when you're initiating a new program that you're communicating with everybody, teaching them about what you're doing, teaching them about the value of it. And I don't mean just the custodians. I mean the custodians, nutrition services, the teachers, the principals, the aides, the playground assistants. Everybody needs to know green has validity. It cleans just as well. It is healthier for you. It is healthier for the students. It's the right thing to do. We're not cutting corners. We're not cutting costs. We are protecting the health of all of the occupants of that building. So when I came in, we determined that we had about 58 chemicals that were actively being used and probably 50 plus that had been discontinued for some amount of time, but were still in the schools. We were using about 900 gallons of aggressive floor stripper per year. One of the first things that I did, I wanted to experience every piece of training that we had, every process that we had. So I went out to the schools. One of the first processes that I was involved in was chemically stripping the floor. And honestly, I was really taken back. After the process is done, everybody leaves the room. They collapse on the grass. You know, they're trying to clear their head and their lungs. And it's just horrendous. I was so surprised that we as a school district would put our employees through that. I was taken back. I came back and I talked with my leadership team and I said, we are finding a new process or a new product to do that. We are never doing that again. That is crazy. So currently we are at 26 chemicals actively being used. We have removed all of the chemicals in our schools that have been discontinued. And right here it has a little acronym. It's TIAO. That I'm aware of. I will not tell you that I do not have a rogue custodian that has hid a product in the back of a corner or, the bottom of a shelf. But I will tell you that as I am aware of, we have removed them all. Our new process for floor stripping has taken our chemical stripper down from 900 gallons a year to 75 gallons a year, which has been a cost savings of $14,850 per year. And we've reinvested all of that money into new equipment. So that equipment, machines, one of the things that we noticed is that we were using multiple machines to do multiple purposes when we could easily find one machine, a little bit higher end, one machine that would do multiple purposes. All of us have storage problems. All of us have money problems. So for us to really look at, can this machine do more than one purpose? Is it smaller? Is it more compact? We put a lot of energy into those things and have made some substantial changes. We also improved the system that we use for kind of piecemealing out damaged equipment. So in the past, we had a pretty good process. If the machine was relatively new, we'd save it and use it for, a couple of other machines. That was great. Our process now is phenomenal. No piece of equipment leaves this district with anything on it that can possibly be used on another machine. And the greenest process ever, not consuming more. If you can utilize what you've already got, please do it. But this gave us a cost savings of about $15,000 per year, and we've reinvested all of that into new equipment. As far as IPM, when I came in, we had not implemented IPM even though it's law. And most of our custodians, most of our administrators had never heard of IPM. Now, this may not be a big deal to some people, but to me it was a huge deal. Our school districts that surround us had all implemented it. The school district just to the south, that Salt Lake School District, had an award-winning program. And our school district didn't even know about it, didn't even know it was part of the law. I was so blown away. But what we've done is we've taken the $10,000 that we were spending to spray for pesticides, and we have changed that. So now we use that money to pay for monitors, logs, IPM tools, and very, very, very seldom a pesticide. So we've saved $10,000 annually, but we have reinvested that in our IPM program. Okay, as far as consumables, air quality is very important. Please make sure you've got a good HVAC filter. It makes a huge difference in your air quality. So before we had used a 90-day HVAC, just a standard conventional filter. Now we use a high quality, it's a MERV 8, but it's a high quality MERV 8. It is a 1-year filter. This is such a good filter that at the 11th month, it still has great flow. It doesn't cause problems with the equipment. You're still getting great air quality, and even as you're at the end of that 1 year. And sometimes with air filtration, it's really good the first little while, and the last little while it's not so great. But these filters clearly cost quite a bit more. The time savings in changing them once a year as opposed to quarterly has more than paid for the increased quality in HVAC filters. We talked about SOAP a little bit earlier. We had been conventional. My predecessors changed to a great Eco-Logo certified product. However, I had investigated it when I first came in to find out what was going on. Well, the vendor who had installed the units did not install the meters. So instead of dispensing 0.4 milliliters, we were dispensing 0.9 milliliters, clearly more than double what we needed. So that, finding that those meters were missing, that saved us $40,350 per year in overspending. And I also, this is a side note and it has nothing to do with this, but I also negotiated additional discounts and had them drop our price by 21%, which I have not included in the cost here, but I came from procurement, and so that's what we did. On the industrial paper, we've been using a conventional product, and again, 102 facilities, that's a tremendous amount of waste. We are now speccing a 50% post-consumer waste product, 65% recycled fiber. It is coreless. It is Eco-Logo certified. We are so happy to have made that change. Okay, so resource management is something that Davis does very, very well. We have been looking at resource management for probably about 10 years, and this is a huge collaboration between custodial, maintenance, construction and architecture, and our energy management departments. We actually meet once a month just to talk about energy, and we meet with these groups actually twice a month to talk about other things. So we are constantly in discussions with these people about what they're doing, what we're doing, making sure that we're not creating additional work or making things more difficult for each other. But that collaborative group has made significant changes. One of those would be the remote control programmable thermostats that we have installed with central monitoring. Now, these are installed in every single one of our portables as well as our buildings themselves. So if we have a teacher that leaves a facility in July, they forget to turn off the AC in the portable, it's running. We don't want to air condition that portable all summer long. We will get a notification that lets us know, hey, the AC is on. Do you want to turn it off? Definitely we do. And the opposite, of course, we're from Utah, so it's 100 in the summer and it's 2 in the winter. In the winter, when we're at winter break and the temperatures drop to 16 degrees, we can go in and look at that central monitoring and say, this portable's getting very low in temperature. We know it has water in it. Let's go ahead and turn the heat on so we don't have any frozen pipe issues. It's just saved us a tremendous amount. We also have a StructureWare program, which is an app that we have on the phones of all of our custodians, our maintenance people, and our energy people. This allows them to tell if a fan has been tripped, if everything is working mechanically the way it's supposed to, what the temperature in a room is, how the ventilation is working. It's just a wonderful app. It allows us to find problems before they create additional problems, which has been very nice. We use a WeatherTrack watering system at a lot of our schools. This system measures the temperature, the humidity, and the wind, and then adjusts the amount of water that it dispenses based on that information. We have several buildings that are net zero. I know the story with net zero is, some people say it takes 25 years or 30 years for payback. The first year is really profitable, but after that, it's not as good. Our experience has been exactly the opposite. Our payback is shrinking every time we look at the utilities. We have buildings that are truly net zero. We will be giving back utilities to the utility companies because We cannot use all that those buildings have generated. Cost savings. So we are using the exact same amount of power now that we used exactly 10 years ago. We've built 6 new elementaries, 2 new junior highs, and we're using the exact same amount of power. In our area in Utah, the average district spends $1.20 to $1.50 per square foot for utilities. At Davis, we spend 70 cents per square foot for utilities. That is a cost savings of $4 million per year, and we have experienced that savings every year for the last 10 years. So I just want to say this. I just want to say the main point of my presentation was not only to show you, that you can make the value proposition and make people understand it is cost effective, but also to tell leaders, small or large, you don't have to take on the whole project at one time. Pick one thing. Pick the most dangerous chemical. Pick the most expensive chemical. Pick whatever you think is creating the biggest health concern. Assess your current situation, make a plan, act, look at how it worked, and adjust if you need to. The thing that I find that most people make a mistake on is they don't act. They assess, they make a plan, they plan a little more, they plan a little more, and they never actually jump. You've got to understand you're going to have snags. If you're implementing a new plan, you're going to have snags. But if you don't actually act, nothing will ever change. So I would ask you, please plan and then just do it. Have a little faith in yourself. It'll be fine. Jump. It'll work out great. So our bold goal for our program is just to have the healthiest, safest, and most environmentally friendly schools possible with the resources that we have available. And because of the changes that we've made in our products, processes, and building systems, we have generated $4,080,200 in cost savings per year for the Davis School District. Our target population is clearly our staff and our students, but also our communities. It took us, some time to research. We did some training. We did new facility assessments where we actually went into all the facilities and looked at everything and how they run. We do 2 facility assessments a year now. We did not do any prior to 2014. We've gotten a lot of feedback. We've collected a lot of data. We were able to reduce our chemicals from 58 products down to 22 products. We have been able to reduce the number of machines we have in our schools. We have implemented IPM. We have changed our conventional HVAC filters, soap, and chemicals in specific locations, and toilet paper to greener products. And we have implemented resource-saving measures. We've reduced absenteeism. We have reduced the indoor air quality complaints. We have reduced exposure to potentially harmful chemicals, not only for the students, but for my staff. We have saved tremendous amount of energy and water resources. We have great staff retention now, and we have wonderful morale. And again, our impact has been $4,080,200 per year. But better than that, we have healthier staff and students. Thank you.
And Shauna, thank you so much. Again, that focus on not just the health of your students and your staff, but when you say retaining employees is the greenest practice that you can put in place, it's so true. And being able to do the kind of training that, as you also said, helps make people accountable. I think that so often custodial staff folks feel like they are, just on the hook for everything and accountable for everything. But there are ways to help other people in their accountability, make your staff more capable of being accountable. Everyone wants to succeed, and there are ways to make that happen. I think that one of the things that is, that comes through so loud and clear in both you and Mike's stories and experiences is the fact that while we're focused on effective cleaning and maintenance, that effective cleaning and maintenance has an impact on every other function in a facility, as well as on indoor air quality and as well as on health. And I think that, as we heard in your story, Shauna, when you talk about the energy savings, you talk about, changing filters for HVAC, you can see here that it really underscores the fact that none of the indoor air quality technical solutions stands alone. They are all interdependent. And cleaning and maintenance practices especially run through all of these. And I just want to take a quick look at the way that they have a direct connection to smart material selection as well as aggressive source control. And you heard some of these examples in the stories. The strategies under smart material selection can really help guide you towards identifying and purchasing third-party certified green products that are safer for the indoor environment and healthier for your occupants and still effective at cleaning. If they're not effective at cleaning, people are not going to use them, but we can help direct you towards those kinds of products. EPA's Safer Choice program offers a lot of resources to support your green cleaning product selection. And then adhering to the strategies under the aggressive source control technical solution will help you establish green cleaning policies that can prevent, reduce, or eliminate exposures before they become IAQ problems, just like Shauna was talking about. I'm thinking about, like she said, the change in floor stripping practices that Shauna shared with us. Okay. A great way to manage all of the elements of your indoor air quality and green cleaning program is with the school's IAQ assessment mobile app. Everything from the IAQ Tools for Schools action kit and framework are pulled together here in an easy to use fashion that you can use on any mobile device with internet access, whether it's your smartphone or your tablet. And of course, it's free to download and free to use. This is the resource you need to help coordinate all of your green cleaning activities, policies, and procedures. And so just really quickly, I want to take you through a look at some of the most impressive and successful aspects of Mike and Shauna's programs through the lens of the IAQ framework and mobile app. So the ability to recoup significant savings and reinvest them back into your green cleaning program, like you heard from Mike, began with securing senior buy-in from the school board. So by successfully communicating his program's achievements and results, Mike secured that senior buy-in and support. And more than that, he got a seat at the decision-making table. So use the Coordinator's Guide as a part of the kit. The Coordinator's Guide is the most important resource anyone can use to gain knowledge about the foundational organizing pieces of an effective, comprehensive IAQ plan, like developing a systematic approach and building an effective team. The framework recommends empowering an IAQ leader, creating champions, and securing senior buy-in. So when it comes to putting this knowledge into action, it's time to turn to the kit and the mobile app to activate the items on the checklist. And especially the school officials checklist is ideal for sustaining and organizing your program. The school official checklist is where you want to go. This is the checklist you want to have in the hand of every decision maker, every senior official, every principal, the heads of all your departments, to help them recognize their role in ensuring good IAQ and taking actions like announcing the IAQ coordinator, supporting your green cleaning program, endorsing that person's leadership, and also in lobbying for the funds to invest and then reinvest in green cleaning. Both Shauna and Mike stress the importance of training and communicating with teachers to enlist their support for green cleaning procedures in the classroom. So teachers are on the front line of IAQ and health in the classroom, but often they feel maligned and left out of the loop when it comes to decisions about IAQ and green cleaning. The IAQ Tools for Schools kit offers them a voice and a role with a teacher's classroom checklist. The checklist reminds teachers that they have a role in the shared accountability when it comes to things like controlling clutter and keeping their classrooms clean, and more important, keeping them cleanable for that custodial staff. Additionally, by using the ventilation, IPM, and buildings and grounds checklists, your school's teachers, school nurses, facilities, and custodial staff members can work together, work in unison to assess the environment and develop a plan that ensures that recommended actions, strategies, and interventions are actually happening to create a clean and healthy indoor environment for students and staff. So EPA has a trove of resources to help make your green cleaning program a healthy and happy success for everyone involved. So please visit our website and access all of our tools and materials. Many of our resources will allow you to take an even deeper dive into the areas of green cleaning and the other coordinating areas of indoor air quality that we touched on in this webinar. Additionally, our SHIELD network partner, the Association for Learning Environments, is making it possible for you to receive one learning unit toward the American Institute of Architects Health, Safety, and Welfare and Sustainability Design Standard. Please just send your full name, AIA number, the name of the webinar, and the email address, and your email address to iaqschools@epa.gov. My final request for you is for your next action, to fill out the webinar evaluation form to help us better serve and support your needs. We read every evaluation, and all of that gets put right back into our programming. At the end of the evaluation, please access your personalized certificate of completion and display it as a demonstration of your commitment to take action for clean, safe, and healthy school indoor environments. Thank you for attending this webinar. This includes the presentation portion of the webinar, but please continue to stay on for question and answer with our speakers. Today, our speakers, Shauna Cragen and Mike Jones, will be joined by 3 other technical experts on green cleaning in schools to help field your questions that have been coming in. If you have not sent questions in already, please use your chat, the chat function on the webinar to do so. Joining us today will be Mervyn Brewer, the assistant custodial supervisor at Salt Lake City School District in Utah. Kimberly Thomas, the Executive Director for Plant Services and Custodial Operations at Clark County School District in Georgia, and Richard Shaughnessy, the Director of Indoor Air Quality at the University of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'd like to welcome everyone. And, I know that Mervyn Brewer has done a lot of collaborating with Shauna, and there's just so much leadership going on out there in Utah. And so, Mervyn, I'm going to invite you first to just sort of share some of your insights about green cleaning, about your experiences, and how they square with what you heard from our speakers, and other things that you might want to share with our participants about your experience in green cleaning there in Salt Lake City.
Well, thanks, Tracy. First, I'd like to say thank you to Shauna and Mike for their great presentations. It really helps make my message a whole lot easier. In looking at what Mike presented, it's very, very similar to what Salt Lake City School District has been doing for several years, and it's a wonderful program to model after. But you add to it something that Shauna brought that is a new emphasis, I think. You see, back when we really got into green cleaning, the emphasis was on chemical. Getting a green certified chemical meant that you had a green cleaning program. And the message has really changed and needs to change, and that is that chemicals are a very small portion of a green cleaning program. Reduce, reuse, and recycle is a huge, huge component. The ability to reduce how much you use in the way of any chemical is a great part of the green cleaning program. But as Shauna brought up, the ability to bring your employees in and use them as a very important part of your green cleaning component, not having a high turnover. And in Salt Lake City School District, the way that we train our employees is we value them. We don't just give them orders to, here's what we want you to go do according to our program. We actually try to develop them as people. We give them a lot of buy-in. We give them a lot of power. We empower them to become lifelong learners. And what we get in return are these amazing employees that help us build our green cleaning program. You see, we don't just look at our green cleaning program and say, look, we got this award, it's great, and this is what we're continuing with. In Salt Lake School District, we are always trying to innovate. We are always trying to reach a little bit higher. And how do we do that? It certainly isn't with my leadership. It is the leadership of our employees who come to us and say, hey, I've got this great idea, or hey, I just learned this new thing. And so keep in mind from these 2 presentations today, the enormous amount of value that was spoken about today. You look at how they were able to reinvest monies into their program. And again, green cleaning used to be, oh, it's so expensive, we can't go there. Yet Salt Lake City School District was able to go to a green cleaning program, an award-winning green cleaning program, without an increase in our budget at all. So it is doable, folks. And again, please
take the time to look at these programs, contact these people if you'd like. The members of the Green Cleaning Council, Kimberly, myself, Mike, we are all at your disposal. You can contact us anytime, and we're willing to talk with you about how you can make your program more successful.
Merv, thank you so much. And I think that you absolutely are right. What we have seen with that Leadership Council is that they are true leadership in that you are leaders in service to everyone, to all of your peers, and that you are always at their service. And that is so appreciated. So, Kim, I'm going to ask you to reflect in kind of the same way as Merv. You know, when you think about, I know you've done so much with your program there and with your staff and with embedding it into the Clark County system. So some of the highlights you would say that you would want to share with people about your green cleaning experience and successes there.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. I appreciate it. And I must say, even just being lucky enough to be invited to be a panelist on the webinar today, I've learned a great deal as well. Certainly knowing Mike and the great program that he has out of Missouri, and in speaking with Shauna and talking with her several times, even at some of the local industry showcases, the last one being out in Chicago with ISSA, and about the program and the fantastic job she's doing out in Utah, and of course with Merv as well. I think Merv really touched on a great thing. I think one of the larger impacts of having a green cleaning program is that our heart and our passion is about how do we help our students and our staff enjoy and be able to successfully work and study and play in the educational facilities that we provide to them. And I think it's great from a green cleaning perspective to be able to open up the lines of communication with our academic cohorts to let them understand that we are there to support what they do for student academic success. So it's a great way just to parlay into, making sure that our programs are being successful. How do we do that? We definitely need to have ways to measure what we're doing. Our building inspections, what does that really mean in looking at your program? It has to be more than just the chemicals, as Merv has mentioned, and what Mike and Shauna have so graphically depicted in their presentations. Really, why are you there? What are you doing? And is the program achieving the levels of success that you want, and how do you define success? And it can't just be about the chemicals alone. Shauna really touched a lot about morale and making sure that your employees are engaged and trained. And we do a lot of training in our school district as well, 15 to 20 hours per school year. You can't have a great, knowledgeable employee if you don't reinforce what they're doing and help them to understand the reasons behind why they're using the microfiber. What's the difference between on-site generation products and something that they buy off the shelf? So all of those things are very important so that they understand that they are on the front line of public health in their schools. One of the other things that we do in Clark County is we work actively with our school nurses to really track student absenteeism numbers, and Shauna touched on that. And she even gave me a great idea to look at the teacher absenteeism, and I think that's important as well, and tying all of those things into how effective are we doing what we are preaching that we should be doing. Another thing that I wanted to highlight about our program is using our web-based software program. Shauna definitely talked a lot about some very innovative things that they're doing. And we also track our inventory with our web-based program, and we bring in our warehouse supervisor to ensure that the products and the supplies in all of our schools, we track that, and we look at trends, historical trends on spending, to make sure that we can justify and demonstrate that we're being good stewards of the taxpayer funds that we take part of. And another thing is employee safety. We look at ensure that all of our staff has non-slip shoes. We have a chart that they can pull from every year, and we pay for those shoes. We have been lucky enough for the last 5 years of all of our district services fellow departments, our custodial and maintenance staff have had the least number of accident employee injuries. And so I think that's a phenomenal thing considering, what we do on a daily basis. So the training is important, ensuring that you have the buy-in so that our staff understands how important it is for us, for them to work safe. And that's one of the definite things that we preach. And so this and so many, many other things go into successful cleaning programs and particularly successful green cleaning programs.
Kim, thank you so much. And, and I want to encourage all of our listeners that, if you are not familiar yet with the IAQ Tools for Schools framework, I really encourage you to do that, because when I hear all of your responses, I know where to peg those activities that you're talking about onto that framework so that you can immediately start employing these kinds of strategies to move forward with continuous improvement. I mean, it's just, the training, the way that you're tracking and evaluating and feeding that back into your success is really impressive. And something that is, it's not a unicorn. It's not a leprechaun. These are things that are real things that can be replicated by other people. And so we encourage you to tap into the resources to help you be able to do that. So I'm going to invite Dr. Richard Shaughnessy to talk a little bit about, Richard, when I hear so much from our presenters and from others about the importance of standardizing their cleaning processes and the impact that can have. And when we talk about, especially with the value proposition, one of the benefits that, that we are touting, one of the outcomes is around improved cleanliness. And I know that can be kind of a slippery target for some people, but I know that you're doing lots of work around, standardization and giving real meaning to that so that it becomes a metric that people can really use when it comes to developing their business case and their value proposition and just understanding the effectiveness of green cleaning. So if you could just talk a little bit about, what's going on in your world around standardization, around cleaning standards and how school folks who are looking at improving their cleaning programs and their green cleaning programs can tap into some of that information.
Sure, Tracy. First of all, I wanted to thank you and thank the other speakers. Good webinar here. And, in terms of all the work we're doing, we are heavily invested. And as you and everyone I'm sure knows, this is a rapidly evolving field. It truly is. And because of our technology and what we're able to do now, we're able to look at things such as, I think Kimberly brought up a very good point, and Shauna and Mike, related to how do we gauge success. So green cleaning, we know it's a good thing, cleaning in general, but what are the endpoints that we can look toward? And that's really what we've been working toward in our work. We're always looking to practical outcomes that can demonstrate the value. And when I say that, some of the outcomes have to do with clean. So what is the definition of clean? In the past, we've kind of used that white glove test, which is highly subjective, to say the least. And we're able to do much better than that now. We look at costs as an outcome. We look at health. And a lot of our work and research is related to health outcomes in terms of reduced symptoms and related to as well improved attendance and things of that nature. But when it comes to clean, I think it's very important that we keep in mind what we're talking about here. Like I said, the white glove test, it's really not a good gauge, metric, if you will. And a couple of speakers have already mentioned ATP. What we're talking about there is adenosine triphosphate. And there are many ATP meters out there. They're not all standardized. And that is, one reading related to one meter might be different than another. But within the context of one type of meter, you can get an idea of what your current conditions are in terms of ATP. It's a very crude indicator of biocontamination, if you will. And when I say that, we're talking about things that make a difference in terms of health. And we're talking about bacteria and fungi and other microorganisms that may be of concern. And ATP, in the past, many have thought doesn't really track bacteria that well. Some of the research that we've recently conducted, we've taken over 10,000 measurements of ATP on desktops, bathroom surfaces, and cafeteria tables throughout the United States and schools. And we've developed a database of what is normal or what's typical. And that database is now ISSA, the Worldwide Cleaning Association. They took our research and turned it into a clean standard, if you will, for schools. But for reference purposes, it's not a bad idea to look at that and say, okay, I've got an ATP reading in my school for a desktop. How does that rank with other schools in the country? And we're able to, through that work, demonstrate what is typical, what is high, what is low, to get a better idea of what that may be. And in addition, because of work we've recently been doing with Yale University, we're looking at what ATP and how does it relate to true biocontamination in terms of bacteria and fungi. And we found for desktops an excellent correlation between bacteria and fungal cells, which we really didn't expect, but there's a very good correlation, which tells us that if we can reduce not only these organisms, they do relate to bacteria, they do relate to pathogens, and ultimately, if we can do that, and that's one of the endpoints we're looking toward as well, we can look to improved health. So, and we're seeing that already in our initial preliminary findings. We're writing 2 papers on it. We're presenting it this summer in an international conference, and so there's some excellent work forthcoming that supports all of the investment related to what's clean, trying to improve on conditions, and how that impacts positively health. So I could go on, but it's just fascinating right now what we're learning. And if you clean a surface, another thing we're looking at, how long does it take for that surface to re-equilibrate before another cleaning is needed? And what we're finding with desktops, after 3 days, if you clean a surface like a desktop, 3 days later, it will be at that same level before cleaning, which begins to tell us what is the frequency needed if we're trying to remove organisms that may impact health. And that, too, is something we're publishing on. So, again, I could go on, but I wanted to keep it concise and just support the overall goal here, which is to strive to better cleaning, look to improvements, look to cost, and ensure that those cleaning products are, in fact, not only green, if you will, but they're efficient at cleaning. The efficacy is so important. You could have a green-colored product, but does that really mean that it is going to give you an improved, cleaner surface? So that the things like Ecologo, Green Seal, Green Guard, those things that were mentioned are very important in terms of looking to certified products related to green cleaning products. So I'll kind of stop right there, Trace.
No, Richard, that is excellent because, and all of that is really important and pertinent information. And I know that it may have sounded like a lot to a lot of you, but here's the thing. Richard is one of the featured speakers on the cleaning and maintenance webinar from the masterclass series. And so you can get, the slides that demonstrate and have a lot of the factual information that he was delivering here from that webinar, and hear him go a little more into detail around some of the cleaning standards that we're looking at, some of the practices and the ways that we are determining what is clean. And I think you're 100% right. I think that, Richard, one of the biggest deterrents, one of the biggest challenges that we have to get over is a perception that the products aren't going to be as effective as other products are. And so we have to have we have to have products that are effective and be able to identify those through those third party certified sources. And then we have to have a way of proving the efficacy. And so the work that you're doing to be able to help folks do that is really critical, because it is that kind of bottom line data that is so compelling for so many people. And so it's really important stuff that you're talking about there. And when we talk about some of those bottom line measures and metrics, one of the other questions that has come from our participants is around the kinds of metrics that your programs are using to relate to identify health outcomes like asthma rates. And so folks are curious from you about when you talk about the importance of health and green cleaning, what kinds of measures, what kind of metrics are you using to demonstrate those? And so I'm gonna start with Shauna, and then I'm gonna invite others to chime in as well. So in your programs, Shauna, when you're communicating health outcomes, what are you using for health outcomes to help share that, and how are you acquiring some of that information?
Okay, so we all know that there are clearly some HIPAA laws that are in place that prevent us from gaining specific information about, why a child is absent. We can't go in and say, it was definitely an asthma issue and that's why they haven't been able to attend. So because of those HIPAA laws, we have not been able to identify specific we know that it was a 3% change in asthma or anything of that. What we have looked at is basic absenteeism. So we're looking at a controlled group compared to a group that we've got green chemicals in, and we are looking at just basic absenteeism under the perception of when you've got a big sample of both a control group and a green group, statistically, it will come out correctly and give you a good picture. If you're looking at one green school as compared to one conventional chemical school, you're not going to get good data. There are a lot of other factors that can be in play when you've got such a small data collection as one facility. So we're looking at multiple facilities. We're looking at general absenteeism, under the perception that that's the one change that's been made consistently in all of those, and the average difference in the absenteeism is going to be a result of that change, which is the only change.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, Kim.
Hey, yeah, this is Kim. In our school district, we work collaboratively with our school nurses, and we get information from them on the number of students who are on asthma care plans or any other type of respiratory tracking plan that they may have. And then we look at student absenteeism between 3 to 7 days. The school nurses will alert us. So our custodial teams will, automatically go in and start looking at those particular classrooms and doing more detailed cleaning. Then the nurses will also provide us with information on the number of students who may be missing 10 to 15 days or more. And then those, we do even more cleaning. So we're not focusing on names, of course, as Shauna brought up due to HIPAA laws, but we are focusing on the numbers and targeted schools and even rooms based on the conversations with the nurses.
Excellent, Kim and Shauna. Thank you both so much. Merv, a number of our speakers have talked about how they were able to work with with the administrators and with the decision makers to make this happen. And we have a question as you were giving your opening comments. Someone was asking, I will ask it exactly as it's written and then you can respond. Was green cleaning a relatively easy sell to the administration of the Salt Lake City School District? Merv?
Oh, of all the questions to ask me, well, yes and no. The administration really trusts what the custodial department does in the Salt Lake City School District. And so the answer was no, this was not something that we took up the flagpole and said, hey, is this okay that we do it? We just did it. We just implemented it because it didn't cost us any more money. With the amount of money that we were given, we changed some processes, we changed some products, we were able to reallocate the money that we had into changing our program. And the bottom line was there were no complaints. It wasn't an additional cost. Hey, this is a great thing. Go for it. So we were given a lot of autonomy that way. We were fortunate, I think, in that way. Some people have administrations that micromanage and want to know everything that is done and why. We were very fortunate in that we had a lot of trust when we started getting into our integrated pest management program, which is where we really started into green cleaning, was our IPM program. And we were given a grant from the EPA. We were helped with some people from the IPM Institute in implementing our program. And at the time that it was presented, it made sense to, as I call them, the people downtown, that, wow, they're going to reduce chemical use, poisonous chemical use. They're going to reduce asthma triggers just by the fact that they are going to reduce these chemicals that are going into our schools. So it made sense. It didn't cost any more money. Hey, sure, let's give these guys a chance and let's see what they can do with it.
I wanted to interject. This is Shauna. Merv and I are both in school districts in the state of Utah, and unlike a lot of other states, we do not have mandated green cleaning programs. We do not have mandated recycling programs. In Seattle, Washington, you've got to be, in Seattle, you've got to be very cautious about where you're putting things. And if it's an organic material, it goes to organic recycling. If it's a paper material, it goes to paper recycling. In the state of Utah, we have so much room that they have not built in a lot of the, they have not built in a lot of the laws or the legislation or mandated a lot of things that help facilitate a green program or a recycling program for us, where in a lot of other places they've kind of been forced into making the changes. Utah, we still have a lot of room to, I guess, bury more trash. So that's not been something that we've had a lot of help from the lawmakers on. But my situation has been very similar to Merv's. My supervisors don't micromanage me. They know that what I'm doing is for the better, good of the staff and the students. And as long as it doesn't cost more and create problems, they support me.
We know there are two words that I heard there a lot, and especially from Merv, luck and trust. And and I'm going to say that I think that those two words go together. My one of my favorite movies, The Incredibles, has a line in it that says, "Luck favors the prepared." And it's the same with trust. There are three elements of trust, right? There's the sincerity element, which is that people believe that what you say is actually trustworthy. But then there are these these other two elements that people forget about that are really integral to trust, and that is what I hear in these stories. The other two elements are competency and reliability, that you have the competency to actually accomplish what you said you were going to do, and the reliability to do it again and again and again. So my belief is that through your your IPM programs, through the other work that you were doing, you had already demonstrated the competency and the reliability that built that trust from the decision makers, from the folks downtown, to be able to readily allow you, to give you the latitude that you talk about. So you'd already put the work in. I think there's a whole lot less luck there, but you made your own luck. You made that luck with the work that you had done and the successes that you'd already had. I'm going to close today's question and answer session with this final question. I'm going to invite you to answer it first, Mike, because it was directed to you from your comments. You mentioned your preventative maintenance program. And, we talk so much about how none of these things stand alone, how they are all integrated together. And we have a question here about what preventative maintenance program are you using? So if you can share more about your preventative maintenance program, and I'm going to invite others to do the same afterwards. So, Mike.
Sure. We have not put our preventative maintenance program at this point into any type of work order process to where we automatically get signals. We have it structured pretty much to where we replace all of our HEPA filters on our upright vacuum or our backpack vacuums every 6 months. We do it over Christmas break, and then we do half of the district or secondary, elementary. We split it up, and then we do it during the summertime. So we kind of do it when we know our maintenance staff has the equipment repair techs and our maintenance people in the back have time to do it. We also send them around to buildings just to do, we have 39 buildings. They take the north side. They'll spend hit 2-3 buildings in a day and just go in and inspect the kayaks to make sure the blades are good, the motors are running good, there's no squealing noises. So we just kind of float and hit areas as we go. We're looking into actually preventive maintenance software. We can go ahead and put that into a work order system because we currently can do that, but I'm kind of old school and kind of like to be part of that. And I meet with my equipment repair tech and our warehouse supervisor, and we just meet once a week and we just go, okay, where are we on these pieces of equipment?
Anyone else out there wants to comment a bit on how they're handling preventative maintenance?
This is Shauna. I just wanted to interject. We do have a maintenance system for our equipment that is a work order system. It does send out auto alerts based on how long it's been since the equipment's been serviced. So we're doing that very, very regularly, which helps tremendously. And then as far as our outdoor gas-powered equipment, this is going to sound really odd, but one of the things that we've noticed, the biggest problem with a lot of that equipment, especially in a state like Utah, is you'll use your summer equipment and then it sits for 9 months. You use your winter equipment and it sits for 9 months. And that causes a lot of carburation problems. So we have actually also implemented a quarterly startup of gas-powered equipment just to let it run for, a couple of minutes. And we found that that's been tremendously helpful, specifically with the gas-powered equipment, preventing carburetor problems. But we do have a very, very good work order system for all of our equipment that notifies us when annual maintenance or routine maintenance needs to happen.
And Tracy, this is Kim. Just quickly, what we do in Clark County, we do have a web-based work order system in that we can put in, the dates that equipment PMs should take place. So we follow those. And we also have an outside vendor that comes in once a year by school, and we'll do all of the heavy battery-operated pieces of equipment inspections for us. And throughout the year, our building supervisors and head custodians, they have to turn in a monthly inspection sheet so we can try to track it, because we know if you don't have the equipment running, it really minimizes what you can do as far as effectively cleaning your building.
Tracy, this is Merv. If I may have 10 seconds, I just wanted to throw in just a little change of gears here before we finish up. And that is, I'd like to invite all those who are listening on this webcast to the Healthy Schools Campaign's Green Clean Leadership Institute being held in Salt Lake City 3 weeks from right now. If you are not aware of it, please go to Healthy Schools Campaign's website. You will have an opportunity to talk and discuss about all of these types of wonderful issues, as well as other things at that leadership conference.
Merv, thank you. That is a great plug. And, and I have to say that honestly, the real work that's going on is going on in the school districts. And I come back energized and excited and ready to channel it back into the program so that we can just accelerate the kind of work that we're seeing from the leadership around this issue to more schools and more school districts. And, in keeping with that, the question about preventative maintenance, I was so pleased to see it come through because our next webinar in this series is on preventative maintenance. The idea is to be able to really get our hands around what preventative maintenance is, especially as it relates to indoor air quality. And there's so many different areas of indoor air quality that require preventative maintenance in order for them to be successful. But having that program, what they look like, even Mike was saying, this is what we do. We don't necessarily have something that we call that. So I'm going to be inviting all of our speakers to be thinking about preventative maintenance and how it shows up for you, especially as our quality, and all of our listeners as well. And the questions that you have about it and the areas that you would like us to explore more, you can reach us at IAQ Schools, one word, IAQ Schools at EPA.gov. Drop your questions there. If you have interesting programs around preventative maintenance, we want to know about it so that we can incorporate all of those things into the next webinar and perhaps even invite you to be on as one of our expert panelists for question and answer. So again, it's IAQ Schools at EPA.gov for all of your questions, your feedback, your information, your experiences around preventative maintenance, and look forward to very soon to us announcing a date in October when that webinar will be taking place. So with that, I want to thank all of our speakers and all of our expert panelists for the question and answer, as well as all of you for being on today. This concludes the webinar portion for today. Thanks everyone for joining us today.